Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View. As if Celtic do not have enough players out injured. Young Colby Donovan was taken off in the Scotland under-21 game yesterday. And it just adds to the woes of the new manager, whoever the new manager will be. It's Sunday morning and it's a case of we're all sitting waiting. Just sitting. It's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long... Hopefully Celtic will have come to some sort of agreement with the manager that's been all over the headlines the last couple of days, and they will announce him on Monday. But you never know. Celtic like to drag things out a bit, so I think it'll be closer to Friday than what we think. Wilfred Nancy, he is the favourite. He's the man that Celtic have asked to speak to, allegedly. I'm going to go back onto Twitter, actually, because there was a guy in America saying that Celtic hadn't oh, look at that. Celtic are actually getting outside the Celtic Park with the new banners. They look quite nice, but they look cheaper than the ones that were up before. You could see right through them to see the building behind it. It's just the way the sun is. Be typical Celtic. They would have went to someone else to get them made and there'd not be the same quality. There'd be a downgrade. Even on the exterior of the building, we're going cheaper. Yeah, because you couldn't see through the ones before. I'll get this on the screen. I'll show you this morning. It is on Twitter. Thank you to Michelle for getting this up. So yeah, you can see history makers. It's not inspiring, is it? If that's all that they've got so far. There's some other pictures. Another one. The fact that you could see through the stuff to the building in the background. Maybe it stopped too much light getting into the windows in the stadium. Who knows? When it comes to Celtic, it's glad finally that they're starting to get something done on the outside of the building. Will they get it all done just in time for a new manager next week? I think so. Let me go to... see if this guy in America reposted anything. There was a journalist a couple of days ago, on Friday, a journalist in America saying, talking to a couple of sources with knowledge of the situation, #Crew96 has not been contacted by Celtic, and he's never put anything else up to. Do you know what Americans are like? They just fucking... I mean, they've got Trump as their president. And he doesn't really follow football. He follows that rugby with the shoulder pad stuff and the helmets. Oh, dear America. No, he's not got anything else. I think he's just trying to get his Twitter account just... I mean, he's got a lot of followers. CBS Sports, Ohio State beat writer. Gonna beat my trade. Anyway, that's enough of him this morning. Getting back to Colby Donovan. Celtic have always got a number of players that are out injured on the long term. In Gibraltar yesterday, what is it about Celtic players getting bad injuries? All they're saying from the Scotland camp is a potentially serious injury. That's all that's come out the Scotland camp, is it's a potentially serious injury. and that's all that they're giving away. Typical Scotland. I watched 35 minutes of the first team last night and then switched it off. Hope the Portugal game wasn't our cup final. Yeah, let's hope not. Why can't we play Portugal every game? Says Fine Column. Yeah, the Irish showed you the way how to play in football. I mean, I don't know what Scotland do. I mean, jeez. Is Nancy a Trump supporter? I doubt it. He's French. American. Let's just jump into the chat this morning before we get into some of what people are talking about with the Scotland game. We'll talk about the Scotland game in a minute, because there were a couple of Celtic players involved. But it is one of those mornings where there isn't a lot of real news with real meat on the bones, as they say, due to the fact that we're all sitting waiting. Just reading this article. I think it's... What a year 2025 has been for Celtic, isn't it? When you think back, I mean, we're in the middle of November. You think back to the start of the year, when we were all going good in the Champions League. Everything was going fine in the Champions League. You know, we were looking as if, you know, there was a possibility, there was a slim chance at the beginning of the year that we could automatically qualify. If we just got a couple of right results towards the end, there was a chance going into 2025 we could get automatic qualification at the last 16. 9.2 million in the bank. But it didn't happen. Celtic kind of lost their way a bit in the Champions League towards the end. A couple of draws that we shouldn't have got that we did get. And then we go and sell Kyogo Furiashi with a game right after a game. Right after, the night after a European game in the Champions League, we go and sell our best striker with no one lined up. No one. And that kind of set the seal for that kind of set the tone for the year, didn't it? I think that when we look back, the selling of Kyogo Furiashi should have been a watershed moment for Celtic fans. It should have had... he's French-Canadian. No, he's not. He's French. The only Canadian links is his wife. He's not Canadian at all. He's French, I think. And he met his missus in France, in Canada. That's the only link. But anyway, getting back to Celtic in this year, it's been a bonkers crazy year, isn't it? I think the alarm bells should have really started sounding when we sold Kyogo Furiashi and we never had anyone lined up. And we struggled to the end of the window. Struggled to get in another striker. And it was all just downhill from there, wasn't it? It was just, we went up 2024, we ended 2024 on this kind of trajectory, and you're thinking, yes, Celtic have finally turned the corner. They're making inroads in the new Champions League format. Everything's going good. We're doing well in the league. We'd won a competition. You know, the second year in for Brendan Rodgers was looking like a treble was on. And there you go. It all just started to fall apart in January. And it took us until this season. It took us till the summer got past. And then it took us to the complete meltdown of a second transfer window in a row. I mean, we were all up in arms about the summer transfer window, when really there should have been the call to arms after the winter transfer window, because it was ridiculous. But we struggled on, and you know, we were quite comfortable in the league. But then you could see there wasn't... The year before, the season before, the team steamrolled to the league, steamroller to the end line. steamroller to the Scottish Cup final. Last season, just at this year, we kind of stumbled over the line. We weren't as emphatic as we were before. We weren't bullying teams. Teams were starting to get the better of the way that Celtic plays. Celtic had lost their spark for definite. James, I'm not believing anything that is coming out of the Daily Record saying that he wants certain strikers, because nobody even knows where the guy is. Nobody knows who he's talking to inside Celtic, and it is just pure speculation. I mean, I could have run with that kind of headline this morning, but it is pure speculation. He's not even agreed the deal yet, as we know. He might not even have spoke to Dermot yet, and we're really unsure where the hell he is. I mean, there was a picture of him going on a flight. He could have been flying back to Canada to see his missus. Do you know, his missus could have been back in Canada seeing her family. He could have been back in Canada. Well, we're all speculating. I mean, the Americans speculated that he was going on a flight to France. We don't even know if that picture was a picture from this week. You know, it was put on a Celtic website, but if you do a search for it, it's only on that Celtic site. So, I think we just wait. There's no use adding to nonsense speculation, say that he wants this guy and he wants that guy. Because let's face it, that would only have been a conversation that he would have had with either Dermot Desmond or Michael Nicholson. And if that kind of information is being leaked out by Nicholson, he needs to go now. He'll need to go now. He'll be in France until after the international game midweek. Do you think so? Do you think he would have went back to France for... I mean, I don't know. Does he have any French players playing for him in America? We'll wait and see. I think we just wait for the announcement rather than to add in speculations that he's wanting to bring in this striker and that striker and all the rest of it. We all know that we need to bring in strikers. He knows the American market. He knows the Canadian market. He knows the French market. He's got plenty of connections in the French market. We might not like how he comes across and his mentality, or need to win every single game. I think that he will know that he'll need to win every single game coming to a club. Look, he's not been sitting in America all his life. Completely no idea who Celtic Football Club are. Do you know, let's just put that out there. The transfer window's isn't open, so talk of a striker coming in straight away is nonsense, because there's no transfer windows open. But if you want to add to speculation in the chat, you could do it. Nobody knew who Ange was, but it worked out well. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I always fall back on. It's, do you know, of all the negativity that was going around about this guy and Ange at the time. I mean, Ange would get it. Ange got it in the neck right from the start. At least he will get a minimum 2 transfer windows. I think he'll get more than a minimum of 2 transfer windows. I think that we're underestimating potentially how good this guy is. You know, there's always a risk. There was an interesting thing I seen online, and I think it was Tony Cascarino was talking about when a certain striker that ended up at Celtic later on in his career, Ian Wright in the afternoon, how certain players, when a certain manager was introduced to Arsenal, and it was kind of a watershed moment when Arsene Wenger was introduced to Arsenal fans and English football, because a lot of people in England said, look, the Frenchman could never win the EPL. A Frenchman could never win the English league. Do you know? And I think that when we look, and I don't think that's a good comparison, because I think that Wenger, whilst he was good at Arsenal, he was there for a long time, didn't achieve what he could have. Fly. But I think that just let the guy, if he is the guy that's to get the job, because you've got to remember, we went through this before with certain managers, we went through it with certain players. I can remember a fantastic player being linked with Celtic, almost getting the deal done, and then he ends up at Newcastle. He was French as well, come to think about it. He was French as well. Who am I talking about? Which French player? Let me just... He was French, wasn't it? Yes, he was. What French player nearly joined Ginola? Yep, Ginola. Yeah, forgetting how old you lot are. Torrox won 3-2 away to Nerha last night. And there we go. It was pissing down with rain, mate. I wasn't going out in that last night. It was absolutely pissing it down. How did you find out about that game? Because I'm going to start going to some local football. You should have left when Percy Van went to Man United, Wenger. Yeah, you should have. Nancy hasn't signed yet, so what's the point until he signs? Newcastle manager David Ginola. Ginola. Yeah, so 1995, the Ginola. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Long time ago. It was under Tommy Burns. Under Tommy Burns as Maloney. So, as Maloney. I'm reading Sean Maloney. As manager. But anyway, yeah, there's no use really adding to any speculation about who he's going to bring in or all the rest of it, because until it's been officially announced by Celtic, and that won't happen until the stock exchange opens at the earliest tomorrow morning. So all eyes will be on any potential announcement. And if Celtic go down the road of sneaking it out to the stock exchange first, like they usually do, that'll be interesting. My mate texted me at the time as a season ticket holder for Torrox. There we go. A season ticket holder for Torrox. Torrox got like a tiny... How big is Torrox Stadium? Where is it? I've been to one... I went to one stadium up at... This is totally off track. Competa. A wee village in the mountains. And they've got this stadium that's right up in the mountains on the edge of this hill. And you're like... What a fantastic view, because you're basically just looking down the mountains. It's mental. But anyway, that's a total different talk. So yeah, cheers for that, Joseph. So yeah, getting back to Wilfred Nancy. Green smoke's coming from Stranraer. I bet it'll be Tuesday and Wednesday, so it'll be good news for the AGM. Big Rab, I said that the other day and everybody thought I was crazy. But now when you start to see the timeline, you know, the Celtic PLC, they'll know. They will know. Yeah, it is that. It's a stunning little village. It's absolutely beautiful, man. So anyway, as I can remember that Dave who? Gareth can remember that Dave. I don't know what Dave he's on about. Don't know what he's on about, but yeah. Some folk are doing it to try and get attention, though. Ginola, wasn't it Ginola? Right, anyway, let's get back to the Scotland game last night. We'll talk about the Scotland game because there was a couple of Celtic players ended up playing. And we've been talking about keepers, goalkeepers in particular over the last couple of weeks. Should Kasper Schmeichel be kicked off the number 1 position so that the young Sinisalo can become number 1 at Celtic? Well, Craig Gordon, an ex-Celtic goalkeeper, was in the sticks for Scotland last night as they shipped in 3 goals. Yep, 3 goals. Scotland got done by. They managed to claw 2 back. I did well switched it off, but then I switched off at 1-0. I didn't want to turn into a Rangers fan and say they were disappointed. Aaron Hickey, he didn't have the best of games. I mean, his career's kind of went. Kind of glad that Celtic didn't. Well, Celtic never really went for him. They didn't put an offer in for him, and I think that now that he's at Brentford, you know, Aaron Hickey hasn't improved the way that a lot of people maybe thought of. And the fact that he was replaced by Tony Ralston last night. Tony Ralston, who is now the only right back that is fit and available at Celtic. I'm not going to talk about the South Korean players. I mean, when you look at the Scotland squad, it's just pure shite, isn't it? I mean, it's when I watch Scottish football now, all that I hear is Ewan McGregor going, "It's fucking shite being Scottish. We're run by a bunch of fucking English fucking wankers. A lot of people hate the English. I don't fucking hate them." Oh, that's all I think about when I see Scotland play. Andy Robertson, who has been linked with Scotland also, he was kind of at fault for the opening goal. I don't want Andy Robertson, to be fair. I think that, you know, he's on his 90th cap for Scotland. Fair play to him, but I don't want him at Celtic. I don't. You know, go forward. I think if we end up bringing Andy Robertson, I mean, how do you feel? Tell me in the comments. How do you really feel about if Andy Robertson was to come to Celtic? Put the Hun in the chat. Who's the Hun in the chat? He must have just subscribed this morning. I'll do it since there's moderators are not about. Let's put on 24 hour. And there he's gone. Scully's gone. It's all about Celtic, isn't it? It is all about Celtic. I think it's pie in the sky, pal. It's never going to happen. Yeah, I wouldn't want him. Just do a poll on Robertson, Baz. Get the clear answer. Right, let's do it. We'll do a poll on Andy Robertson. I mean, I don't want him, but I mean, there's 300 people online, so yeah. Let's start a poll. Yes or no? Andy Robertson to Celtic, yes or no? 300 people online. There's been 900 people online so far. Andy Robertson to Celtic, yes or no? Jesus, I didn't think it'd be so split. Wow. It's almost down the middle all the way. 55-44. The Noes have it at 55%. It's like an independence vote. It wasn't the mods, it was me. I don't think there's any mods on this morning. I can't see any. Is there? There was earlier. I think they've all buggered off. Tam Mack, are you still on? Bring Robertson home. No. A fit KT and a Sriracha. So no, Sriracha won't be here next season. Sriracha won't be here next season. If he takes a hit in his wages and agrees to 30 grand a week, then no. Who would he replace? Well, he's going to replace who he replaces in the national team. It's Kieran Tierney. Lovely cross for Christie's goal. Lewis Ferguson. Ryan Christie. John McGinn. When you think about it, all these players that were playing, that have been at Celtic over the years. Tony Ralston, solid down the right flank after replacing the tiring Hickey. Got to the byline a couple of occasions. I mean, he's just a monster, isn't he? Of a machine, Tony Ralston. But anyway, that's all I'm going to comment on it, because, like I say, I didn't watch the second half. God, even Lawrence Shanklin got a cap. Jesus, that shows you how bad it is, because he's pish. Andy Robertson to Celtic is the poll question, with over 300 people on the live this morning. And it's running bang on, half and half nearly. And yes, say 44%. 56% say no. Vote for Brown Warrior as mod. Damn, Matt missed him. It's cool. He's on about 250 grand a week at Liverpool. And that's bonkers money, isn't it? I'd rather have Sirachi than Andy Robertson. Well, there's an interesting one, because Celtic don't have... Celtic don't have a option to buy. And it's a crazy one. Because when you look, I mean, he's won quite a few things in his career, the Uruguayan. So yeah, he is a winner. The left back. He's a damn good player as well. 27-year-old though. Does he give us that experience? Does he... I mean, what age is Andy Robertson? Well, who cares? I don't want Andy Robertson. I mean, I don't know what Sirachi would cost us if we were to try and put a bid in for him. I mean, at one point, it's not going to cost a lot of money, to be fair. You're going to get him for about $1.5 million. Do the deal, Celtic. He was valued in 2018. He was valued at 14 million euros when he was at RB Leipzig. And then he went to Galatasaray. He's got an interesting career. He started off in South America, went to Germany, to Leipzig, went to Galatasaray. Went to Leipzig for 12 million euros. I mean, he's had some... Is he coming into his prime, I suppose, should be the big question. And can we get a good 2 or 3 years out of him? Because let's face it, I mean, we got 4 or 5... What did we get? 4 or 5 years out of Greg Taylor? And, do you know, Greg Taylor was, as much as a lot of people didn't like him, he was a good player for us. He was solid. And we need somebody to come in that's going to be solid. Well, and I suppose when you look at it like that, maybe he's... here's a thinking that we never thought of when it comes to Sriracha. Maybe the fact that he's been brought in. Sriracha, 1.5 million on a bag of coke. Sriracha could potentially give us 5 years. If a player wants to stay, I'm sure we could make it happen. But has he been brought to Celtic just to give Kieran Tierney the breathing space to improve his fitness and get back up to speed full time? Because let's face it, an up to speed Kieran Tierney, is still a 20 odd million pound player. Do you know, when you look at that, when you look at some of the crosses that he still puts in, the pace that Tierney's still got, they get into the byline. You cannot play Kieran Tierney like you did Greg Taylor. Kieran Tierney is, when you take away the rawness from Kieran Tierney and you take away just him powering up the park, do you know, overlapping the wingers and then getting crosses in. Kieran Tierney's a fantastic player, and Kieran Tierney's got goals in him as well. You never know. We don't want Tierney, like Robo, treating Celtic as a retirement home. If Tierney plays any slower, he'll be in reverse, says Dublin's Fair City. Fuck Tierney, Sriracha's been a lot better, sign him. Tierney's here for 5 years, whether you like it or not. I mean, I've seen a lot of hate for Kieran Tierney this morning. The same ones that were singing his name 6 years ago. Bring him home was all the shouts at New Year. Bring him home. But I think that no matter what, Kieran Tierney's not going anywhere. So Kieran Tierney will be the new Mikey Johnston at Celtic, it looks like. Finish my coffee. Before it gets cold this morning. 109 votes, still split right down the middle. 44% say yes, bring Andy Robertson to Celtic, and 55% say no, don't bring Andy Robertson to Celtic. We love KT. 6 months he's been conditioning for his return. Depends on the formation player and the new manager. We should have 2 quality players for each position. Yeah, we should do. Irishman and Porter, we should have 2. Do you know, and I don't care if there is 20, 30 million pound players sitting on the bench. If there's 20, 30 million pounds worth of players sitting on the bench, that means we've got a fantastic squad. I think that, you know, when this new guy comes in, we need to give him the free rein of, look, if he sees a player and it's going to cost us 10 million, so be it, we'll go for it. You know, if we see a player that he's going to bring in and it's 5 million, so be it, we'll go with it. If we're sitting with 20, 30 million pounds worth of players on the bench, it means that we're in a good place. But then it also, what comes with that, the negative connotation that then comes with having so much money sitting on the bench for Celtic, if you're not doing good in a European context, what's the point in having all that money sitting on the bench? And that's what gets the fans really going. That's what annoys the fans. Is, you know, it's okay in Scottish football. It's a fucking doddle in Scottish football, but that's not where you should be performing. And hopefully, because this guy has done it, not in a European context, but he's done it in a Champions League format context when it comes to North America, maybe he will know how to get the best out of players playing domestically and European football. You never know. Katie is slower, but I take him his experience in Celtic rather than Robertson. Yeah. Just concern, very average display for Celtic since he came back. I think you can understand why he's not had... I'd put it this way. If Kieran Tierney, and this will be a big thing, no matter what happens this season. If Kieran Tierney gets to the end of the season and is not out injured, that will be a first. And that will be a big, big thing for him. That'll be massive. to have one full season without an injury that's going to keep him out for any length of time. So maybe Celtic are doing the right thing by, managing his game time and all the rest of it. Managing his game time, making sure that, we're not aggravating anything, getting his fitness up. And maybe the frustration, like when he scored his goal, he didn't look happy. Because he knows he's not playing to the standard that he should be. Kieran Tierney scoring goals on a weekly basis, and he's running about with the smiles again, grabbing the fucking megaphone for the Green Brigade. It's maybe no than that at his old age, but you never know. But yeah, there has been average displays, but you have to understand well. So anyway, how you not take John McGinn? If we're going to go down that road, do you know? I think we're at a draw the line. This is where we're at. We move forward. We stop looking back. KT coming back was enough. I think going forward, we need to bring in players that can take Celtic to the next step. And the next step, I don't think that John McGinn and Andy Robertson are the answer to help Celtic qualify for the Champions League. I don't think that they are. I'm going to be honest. I think that we need players that have a raw hunger. And I think that McGinn, the age they're at, they've not got the raw hunger that younger players can have. Players that are motivated to do something at the club. And yes, Celtic will sell the club to the manager, and they'll sell the process, and he'll understand more than anybody that Celtic will be used as a platform for players to come in from all around the globe to ultimately go to the English Premiership or go and play in what other country that they desire to go and play in. They'll be sold Celtic on the fact that you can get European football, you can show yourself at this top stage, at this higher level. And players from all around the world all want to be playing European football. You show how good they are on a European stage, and then they get their move. I think that whoever comes in, and whoever the manager comes in, getting away from the whole Andy Robertson, getting away from the McGinn, they should have been done years ago. And there's no use going back. If Kieran Tierney's getting stick for not being up to it, could you imagine having a team of Kieran Tierneys? That's all I'm saying. If we have too many players that are coming towards the end of their career that are Celtic minded, they're going to fall into Mikey Johnson territory, where they're not good enough. They shouldn't have come back. They shouldn't have come to Celtic. They're fucking past it. That's not the way forward. I think that the way forward should be all about bringing in, if he is the manager, to come in, I hope that we move in a completely different direction, like we did when Ange came in. I mean, nobody expected us to buy in so many players from Japan, but we did, and it was successful. Now, if he's going to go, do you know what? There's this cracking player in America. There's a cracking player in Canada that I know, and I've got connections in France that are saying that there's this fucking phenomenal 19-year-old coming through that is just we can get him dirt cheap because he's going to be right up there at the top. If that's what it takes to get Celtic back up to, and it's not even competing now in European football. It's just holding our own. We've regressed that much. It's last year was about competing. The way forward for Celtic just now is about holding our own in Europe. Getting back into dominating the Football League, getting back to teams being scared of Celtic. But then again, we're going through a cycle. We seem to be going through a 2-year cycle at Celtic. Can we get a manager that can come in and see Celtic as a 3 to 5 year plan? Can we get a manager who can change things up? I think we've all said that we became far too stale in the backroom department. I think with the changes that's been made in the backroom department, has given everybody a kick up the arse. I think that good managers make continual changes in the backroom department every couple of years to freshen things up. Because if they don't, it goes stale. Brendan Rodgers went stale. Ange Postecoglou, everyone started playing the low block. Everybody started implementing, just sit back and see if they can get through you. Do you know, you have to be able to change it up. We definitely need more Scottish players. I don't think that... I mean, what Scottish players, and especially in the national team, because that's where you're kind of looking at for players. What players that have played for the national team last night would you take at Celtic? I wouldn't. There's not any that I would take. That's a sad indictment of Scottish football, by the way. That's not... It's nothing against the players. I just think it's a sad indictment of Scottish football of where we are as a nation. The fact that, do you know, it's 30 years. And do you know what really disappointed me last night watching the first half of Scotland is these guys could have had one hand on getting into the World Cup. Something that hasn't been done since the 1990s. My kids have grown up and never seen Scotland at a World Cup. I grew up and all I seen was Scotland at World Cups. Do you know, we were always in the World Cup. Every 4 years, you knew Scotland would be there. You just knew they would be there. Until we get to the late 90s and then that was it. Nobody, if you any Scotland fan back in 1998 in France would never have thought for 1 minute that would be the last time that Scotland would be in a World Cup. Nobody would ever have thought that. I mean, come on, Tony Ralston's gets a game for Scotland nearly every game, and we see that he's not Celtic standard. You know, he's Celtic standard, but he's not good enough when it comes to Europe and stuff. McGinn, I think, is the wrong end of his career. We should have got him when he was younger. Ryan Christie, been there, done that. Do you know, moved him on. You're not going to bring him back to Celtic. Lewis Ferguson, you're not going to get him. Andy Robertson, tail end of his career, just looking for big... Do you know, when you look at the keeper, 43-year-old or whatever he is, back at Hearts, the team that chased him away, there's nobody, and that's just a sad indictment at the game. Anyway, 155 votes. Let me see if we can get some more. It's crazy it's been that long. It is crazy. It's bonkers that it's been so long that Scotland have not been in a World Cup. And saying that we need more Scottish players. No, we don't. Do you know what we need? It's not more Scottish players. It's we need our academy to be producing more. Because when the academy for Celtic produces, we produce Scotland stars. If you look throughout the last 20 years, Scotland has always had a big connection with Celtic players. Not so much now because they've all left, but the academy is where the issue is. I'm not one for going out and just bringing back old players or players that are at the end of their career just for the sake of it. I think that what we need to do is get the academy, go over to Midtjylland, send whoever over to Midtjylland, look at their academy. Do you know, look at teams on our doorstep that have a way better academy. Do you know, there's clubs in Scotland that have a better academy than Celtic, and they're not in Glasgow. You know, so our academy is now, I mean, that's 5 years for turning anything out. 5 years anyway. Got a new idea for a chant for the Green Brigade. No, that's not going to happen. Did Celtic play KT injured? Maybe that's causing issues now. Not really when he was younger. I think that he was such an important player to Celtic, and it's always a case of if you're young enough, you're good enough. But when I look at teams in Spain, and you see younger players getting used sparingly, if you like. Do you know, you've got some fantastic youth players coming through, but the managers will think nothing. He could be having the game of his life, but the manager will go, nah, they're coming off. And the player's like, madre mia, ¿qué pasa? Do you know, the player's like, but he knows it's for his longevity. It's for the long term of the player. You know, Barcelona do it well with the young kid that they've got. They'll think nothing about taking him off the pitch in the middle of the game. Katie could be played one of 3 backs with Robertson as a wing back. We'll wait and see. Lindsay, if you watch my comments, I was back in Scales. He was signed as a left back. He does. Scales done okay for Ireland in a back 5. He's played at left back in a back 4 for Celtic. We're now going to be playing. Hopefully, we will be playing a new manager that's playing a back 3 that will go to a back 4 when need be. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see what the manager does with the players that we have. £25 million players coming back. I've just reading through. Robertson will help the quota. But so would Colby Donovan if he could get. I mean, I just hope whatever injury that young guy has, I hope it's not season ending. But the noises coming out of Scotland camp last night, the under 20 camp was a potentially serious injury to Celtic right back Colby Donovan. Potentially serious injury. That's season ending. Do you know, that is season ending by the sounds of it. And then you've got to feel for him. Do you know, that's 2 younger players that are at Celtic that are going to be out injured until towards the end of the season. And let's just hope it's not, and pray that it's nothing like a John Kennedy type injury. Let's just hope it isn't. Let's just see if there's any update on anything. Nothing. It's one of the quietest Sundays for Celtic news in a long time. Right, let's finish up that poll. We're on 172 votes. It's getting even closer. Let's see if we can get it up to 200 votes. There's been 1,500 people online, but there's only 200 votes. Let's see if we can get it up to 200 votes, because we're at 172 and it's at 52% for no for Andy Robertson to come back to Celtic and 48% for yes for him to come to Celtic. Sarachi has an issue too. Yep, Sarachi's out injured. Another player that's out injured for Celtic. It's not really what we want, is it? I mean, it's just Kuhn's struggling at his new club. I think he's only scored 1 goal. They're now saying that Celtic sold them a dud at 15 million. What we need is fast midfielders that can win the ball and go forward. We need Aaron Moy wasn't that fast. Aaron Moy wasn't fast. But what he was is he was a damn good midfield player. And he never gave the ball away much. Do you know, if there was anyone that would have been, if he was younger, if there's anyone that could have been a replacement for Callum McGregor, it would have been Aaron Moy. But again, he was at the tail end of his career. Don't know. It's mad to think that he was in Scotland for all those years, and then he went away, and then he came back, and it was Ange that brought him to Celtic. We definitely need height. Well, maybe that's the good thing about a French manager coming in, because French players are generally quite tall, and we do need height in the team, because when you see it, it's absolutely woeful, the height that we've got in our team right now. It is woeful. Big shout out to Gareth for his super chat of £1. He's outdone by Stephen Johnston. It says, smash the thumbs up button. Big shout out to Stephen Johnson. Hope you're doing well this morning, mate. But yeah, we definitely need height. Again, just signed a new deal for Villa. I don't want him anyway. Can't have OAP's FC. Does anybody remember the OEP Ultras flag that were going around a few years ago? God, it must have been around about 2018, 2019. Load of old geezers, and they got OEP Ultras. That was one of the best flags that I've seen at Celtic Park. French Willie gets the job. He must know some French talent coming through. Not just French. I'm looking forward to it, because, I mean, look at Alistair Johnston. Phenomenal player for Celtic. Phenomenal player for Celtic. If we can bring in more players like Alistair Johnston that's got that hunger, desire, fight, ability, speed, a couple of more players like that from North America, and it'll be happy days. Add a couple of French players. We're back to what we were. Not that we've disappeared from what we were. I think we just lost our way. I think when you look back, I mean, we're in the 11th month now. We've had 10 months of a manager that's been unable to motivate players. We've had, because none of us were privy to what was going on in the background. When Brendan Rodgers turned around and said, we've known that Kyogo has wanted away since the summer, or since February, or whatever it was. It was like 10 months. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute here. Nobody within the media, nobody within any media kind of put pressure on Brendan Rodgers to say, well, why has nothing been done about it? That's the recruitments department. The alarm bell should have been ringing so much louder than what they did back in January when we lost Kyogo. The alarm bell should have been going off. We should have started protesting then, but we allowed this lot to get to the summer. 50% Robertson and 50% McGinn would still run riot in Scotland. Well, talking about 50%, both of them are on roughly about 50%. In fact, they are. There's 183 votes, and there's been over 1,567 people have been on the live this morning, and we're bang on 50%. 183 votes, 50% say yes, they want Andy Robertson at Celtic, 50% say no. That's the first time that we've seen that. If we end the poll, we'll lose 1%. Just go end the poll for the banter to see who loses. We haven't lost 1%. There we go. Inconclusive, as they say. It's a hung jury. It's a hung jury. Hung jury on that one. Anyway, Geezer again for Celtic. Right. Do you believe that Rodgers and Kyogo really wanted to leave? Yes. Of course I believe that Kyogo wanted to leave. Look at this Kyogo's forum. Kyogo's forum tells you he wanted to leave. Do you know? Kyogo's forum definitely tells you that he wanted to leave. Let's just jump into there. Morning to you, Chris. Said earlier enough he wanted to go because he couldn't get a game for Japan. It was ignored by the club. Yeah, this is very, very true. 50-50, that's a rarity. It is that, isn't it? Only 7 weeks till the transfer window opens, says Big Des. Oh, and then it all starts again. and then we'll get to... I wonder if we'll have our transfers in early, or if we'll have an exciting transfer deadline day. I don't even want to talk about transfers and transfer deadline day, because we've got such an amount of football to play over the next 7 weeks that we just need to keep on firing away, don't we? And just see what this new manager could bring. Still say Rodgers ruined Kyogo. Think so. Kyogo's football career has disappeared. Yeah, exactly. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you wish for, as they say, because when you lose motivation to play for Celtic and you want to move on from Celtic, all that you're going to get is a big payday and big wages. Your career's never going to be the same. The fans will never adore you the same. And the football excitement will never be the same. A bit like watching this channel on a Sunday morning, some might say. And on that note, have an absolutely fantastic day, Celtic fans, wherever you are, all around the world. Oh, pressing the wrong fucking button.